we have here today is something that's going to be a start of a new recipe. Welcome to the galley of SV Xanadu. Today I'm making a keto low-carb bread. No flour, no gluten. I've got all the ingredients prepped right here. This is a new thing. We're going to try this out. I have some good recipes to make if this comes out right, so hang with us. First, I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that goes into this bread. I got Fage yogurt right here, 5% fat. I'll be using grated parmesan, MCT oil that's powdered, nutritional yeast flakes, baking powder, 4 eggs, melted butter, and the softened cream cheese. Let's get this recipe started and see how it turns out. Okay, first I'm going to put the eggs into a mixing bowl. I use pasture-raised eggs, brown eggs. You could use any eggs. It's not that important. I just eat a lot of them, so I go with the best ones I can buy. Alright, here's a trick for you. If you get a shell in there, use part of the shell to get it out. You'll never get it out with your fingers otherwise. Alright, let's get that mixed up. Into that, we're going to put the yogurt. You could use Greek yogurt. I like to use the full fat version, single ingredient yogurt. I'm not going to be putting in a sugary version with a lot of carbs in it. Once these eggs are scrambled in here and beaten up pretty good, I can add the yogurt. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of yogurt here, a 1/2 cup at a time. So let's get that in there. We just mash that into there, into the eggs. I think it's therapeutic to do this stirring and everything. If you've made desserts or if you've baked bread and you get into this, if I get it all in there and get it mixed up, then I'm going to take my electric beater and finalize it. I like to incorporate that in there and do this motion right here. It's a good workout. Alright, that's looking pretty good right there. Set that to a side. Now I'm going to get the melted butter. You just place that in the oven and let it melt, or you can let it sit out for a few hours on the counter. In goes the butter. I use the Kerrygold version. It's a grass-fed butter. Vitamins A and D, butyric acid, the fatty acids we need in our bodies. Okay, I'll just mix that in. Just takes a second. Alright, last for the base, I'm going to put the cream cheese in. I just took a block of 8-ounce Philadelphia cream cheese. I don't use any other version because I want the full benefit of real cream cheese. I'm just going to put 3 of those. I cut it into 4 and I'm going to put 3 of those in there. And I'll save that one later for maybe a stuffed jalapeno or something. Alright, I'm going to mash that up in there. I've set that out on the counter and I've let it soften. See how that's turning out? It's really creamy in there. I'll do like the electric mixer. I'll just use my hand to rotate the bowl. Now if you're wondering, this is a great recipe to make pancakes if you don't want to do the baking in the oven. For the bread, you can just make them in the griddle or a skillet. Alright, kind of broke those up. Alright, you can see the consistency there and the color. Now, I'm using 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I've mixed in 2 tablespoons of the MCT powder. I'm going to add this gradually to the mixture. A lot of people use egg white powder. That would work well. I chose to use the grated Parmesan cheese because it has the psyllium husk powder in it, and that's going to give it a good texture. And then I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast. This has B vitamins, selenium, zinc, everything we need for a great bread recipe. If you're using this for pancakes, it'll turn out great, and you get all those B vitamins to go with your eggs and bacon in the morning. Look at that. Okay, that's mixed in. Next, I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of baking powder. You notice how it has that flat spot where you can get it perfectly right? You ever wonder why that's there? It's a flat spot, so you can scrape it off like that. Mix that in. Maybe we could switch it up. Let that left arm get some work out. Not as fast that way. You could give this a little bit more texture if you used some gelatin powder in there. That would work as well. Since I'm using the grated parmesan, it's going to have a little more cheesy flavor. And to make my bread, I'm going to add in some thyme. Stir that in. Oh yeah, and I'll use a little bit of that on the top, and these will turn out great. There it is. Okay, you don't have to worry about adding salt or anything like that. There's plenty of that in the cheeses. And if you like cheese bread like me, there you go. I used to make my own artisan bread, but I just don't do those carbs anymore. I don't need them in my life. It's time to get the hand mixer out just to work out any lumps. But I got it all mixed together. I'm going to turn the oven on over here to preheat it. All right, let's get this mixed up and get them in the pans. All right, that takes just a few minutes to work out any lumps. I'm going to set that over here and remove this and get the pans ready. All right, I've got 2 9-inch baking pans right here. So here's how we do it. I've already cut the parchment paper so we can place that in the pan. We don't want to have to dig that bread out and break it. We want it to come out very easy so we don't damage the bread. Let's spray it down with some olive oil. I'm going to spread this around in the pans so the parchment paper will stick down to the bottom. First, I cut the 2 longer pieces, like so. See, I cut them a little bit longer than the pan so I can grab the edges and we can pull the loaves out of the pan. And then the parchment, the oil is causing it to stick down into the contour of the pan right there. First step. Second step, a little more oil. Now, the larger pieces. Okay, the oil does help it all to stick down in there so it's not flying up and making it difficult. It's much easier like that. I hear that preheated oven is ready, and here are the pans ready to go. Let's get that batter in there. All right, this makes 2 loaves, this recipe. All right, I've got that divided into 2, approximately 2 loaves. I'm just going to kind of flatten that out. Okay, I'm going to tap that down like that, get everything flat. And now I'm going to add the thyme to the top, just to make it colorful. A little greenery on the top there. It's going to taste great. You can already smell the flavors. All right, on one of these, I'm going to go ahead and put some of my Pirate Rodney spices right on the top. Okay, let's get those in the oven. We're going to put it in the oven at 350, preheated oven for about 35 minutes. See how it goes. Cheers. While we wait, we hydrate. Okay, we're back. We're going to get that bread out of the oven. been 35 minutes. Let's check it out. All right, I've got the bread out of the oven. It's hot. There's the one with the Pirate Rodney spices on it right there. That was a little bit bigger. I put a little more in there. This one's a little less. We're gonna let that kind of cool off. We're gonna put it on the baking rack right here. Here's how we get it out. Look at this, very easy. But first, I do need to check it. Let's check it with a toothpick. See what's happening. Oh, I think that's good. I think that's good. Let's get these out onto the rack here to cool. That comes out nice and easy out of those pans, just like that. All right, I'll show it to you. I'll lift it up. There it is, right there. I'm gonna let that cool off. Oh, if you could only smell this. Okay, I'm gonna have more bread recipes in the future, but this is where I start. I want something that I can use to have that bread texture. I can do this with almond flour. I can do this with coconut flour. But let's start here because this will become the base of recipes in the future. We're going to let this cool off. Then we're going to slice it and taste it. But you can smell that flavor right now. I think the thyme added a great flavor. I got the seasonings on this and the thyme on both. So once they cool off, we can kind of slice this up, and then we can make this into the next recipe. Okay, we're back, and we've got the bread. It's cooled off. Slice that in half right there. There it is. I think I can go with that. Oh, that's soft. It's tasty. I could just eat that by itself. All right, look at that right there. So I'm going to let those continue to cool. Oh, if you could just smell that. That's a good piece of keto bread right there. Oh, yeah. Okay. So there you have it. There's your keto bread recipe. I could have poured this all in one big pan, and it would have been a lot thicker. I would have had to increase it to maybe an hour, hour and a half on the cooking time. What we have here today is something that's going to be a start of a new recipe. If you're interested in the products I use, like this MCT oil or the knives I use here on the boat, check the link in the description and check out the next video. We're going to turn this bread into a new recipe. Thank you for watching.